Hello and welcome to TNA Sports. This is our Week 3 college football prediction show. Thank all of you for joining us. For those of you who are returning, we'll look at what we did last week, which wasn't great, then kind of where we're at for the year. Tonight's just going to be me and A, although we do have Barbie's predictions here that she gave us. So we'll go through her picks, and then we'll go through, of course, our picks for this week, and then looking at what we did last week. All in all, it was not a very good week for us. Just a couple of things we learned last week. One is it's very hard to predict college football games.
Very hard.
Very hard, okay? It's even harder when you haven't watched the teams play. Week 1, or week 0 to 1, was absolutely terrible. We stunk. This week was okay. For some of us. One of us actually did really well this week. And if you were here before, you know who that is. We are seeing where we're making some headway. We are starting to figure some stuff out. Last week was a tough week for a lot of football teams. You look at Alabama, had trouble on the road playing at Texas. Really should have got beat, in my opinion. I thought Texas actually deserved to win the game. Alabama did play well enough in the end to win. So, Notre Dame, be rough to be a Notre Dame fan right now. Starting out 0-2, and then your coach is down at LSU, your former coach, and has done not great per se while he's down there. Definitely Notre Dame fans are not happy right now. Last week, looking back, I finished 3-6-1 last week. We got the ever so rare push. Tennessee and Pitt last week, we had it at a 7. I think we all took Tennessee on the 7, so we got a push there. I finished 3-6-1. Aaron, what was your record?
4-5-1.
He was 4-5-1. And then Miss Bobby finished 6-3-1. So if any of you have been here before and remember me talking, I have told you guys that Barbie is one of the best football game predictors I have seen. We have done this 3 or 4 years. She has won every year. She has a knack for picking college football games. She struggled in week 0 and 1 because she hadn't seen any of the teams play. Now, got some ground to make up. Me and Aaron are a little bit behind. What was it? How many games are we behind, Aaron?
3.
3 games behind. We can make that up in a week or 2, but we can't afford to get any further behind. And if she was here, she would just be smiling from ear to ear. First game we're going to talk about is Georgia versus South Carolina. Okay, Georgia's coming into this game 24.5 point favorite. Georgia's coming off of beating Samford 33-0. Big time blowout, running clock in the second half and all that stuff. Georgia looked great. They probably look like the number 1 team in the country right now. And then South Carolina, they lost to Arkansas 44-30. I'm high on Arkansas now, though, just because South Carolina lost to them does not make them a bad team, if you ask me. If you lose to a good team, it doesn't make you a bad team. Anyway, looking at this game, like I said, Georgia, they're 2-0, have looked good. Everybody pretty much considers them the number 1 team in the country right now. And then, of course, South Carolina's coming off of losing to Arkansas. One thing that I'm looking at for this game, it's really hard to win on the road in the SEC in general. It's really hard to cover a 24.5 point spread on the road for sure. So for that reason, I am going to take South Carolina to cover this. I'm not predicting South Carolina to win. I think it will be somewhere in the 14 range, maybe 17 or even 20, but I don't think it gets above the 20 mark. So to me, if you're getting it above a 20, that's good value. But I am taking South Carolina in that one. What you got, Aaron?
Yes, I was thinking about this game coming into this week, and if it had been below 20, I might have picked the Bulldogs here, but 24.5, that means they got to win by 25. I'm going Gamecocks here. At home, Spencer Rattler has not been impressive, but he has an upgrade at the quarterback position this year for South Carolina.
Yep.
So I'm going with the old fighting chickens at home to cover, but not to win.
That to me looks like, that's I don't want to call nothing an easy line, especially the way this year's looked. Until my record's better, I officially can't call anything easy. I'm taking easy picks off the board until I get to 500. When I get to 500, then I'll say, well, that was an easy pick. But there's a reason that there's these giant buildings all over Las Vegas. It's because they take people's money. So, looking at game 2, we're going to look at BYU versus Oregon. Okay, BYU last week had the big win over Baylor. And then Oregon last week beat Southern Utah really bad. You can't take a lot from those kind of wins when you beat a team like Southern Utah. The only thing you can take from those is something bad typically. It's hard to take much good away from those games. So it's really hard to figure out. You know, last time we saw Oregon, they was in the process of getting spanked by Georgia. Not expecting Oregon to look like that by any means, but also, you know, not expecting anything like Southern Utah either. So in this one, I'm going to go with BYU, the Cougars. I think one of the biggest things is Oregon had trouble stopping the run against Georgia. Georgia was pretty much able to run the ball whenever they wanted to. The middle of that Oregon defense did not play well against Georgia. BYU, they've got a strong rushing attack, and I expect them to be able to move the ball on Oregon. BYU's also got a good defense, and the way Oregon's offense looked against Georgia. Now, I know Georgia's kind of a different animal with the defenses they've had here recently. At the end of the day, I am going to go with the Cougs to take this one.
I am also going to go with the Cougars. They have beaten a ranked team in Baylor. They've proven that they can go on the road. They went on the road, beat South Florida bad. They've proven that they can play a top 25 team and hold their own. Oregon, the only proof we have of them, and their only ranked team they played, they did not look very good in. I'm going to go with the Cougars, and they will cover this. I do not see Oregon winning by no 4 points.
Yeah, I could see Oregon not winning in general. I really think BYU is going to pull this one out. All right, so on to game 3, Penn State versus Auburn. So Penn State's coming off of pretty resounding victory over Ohio. It was 46-10. Auburn kind of in a nail biter. It was 24-16 that Auburn beat San Jose State by. Not a very impressive performance by them by any means, but you know, it's early in the season. But looking at this game, I think Penn State's just a better team overall, top to bottom, than Auburn. Now, Auburn is a difficult place to play. And very rarely do I predict a non-SEC team to come in to Jordan-Hare and win. But I think it happens this week. I think Penn State, I think Clifford, he's an experienced quarterback. He's played in a lot of hostile environments, and he's not going to let, even though it's going to be hard because Auburn's rough, but he will be a little more used to playing in hostile environments. I don't think it bothers him as bad. So I think they do just enough to pull the 3, maybe 4-7. All right, A, what you got?
Well, obviously Auburn has not looked good against 2 inferior opponents. Now, that's not to say that Penn State, they're going to up their game. We definitely know that. But I'm a big proponent on the quarterback, and I think Penn State has the advantage at quarterback here.
Definitely.
He's just more consistent. They beat Purdue in week 1 on the road. I really like Penn State in this spot. I usually don't take teams to cover. I'm a big underdog and stuff like that, but not in this case. Penn State will cover the points in this game.
So next one is game 4. It's going to be Mississippi State Bulldogs versus the LSU Fighting Tigers. So Mississippi State coming off a pretty good 39-17 victory over Arizona, where they really looked good in the second half. And then LSU beat Southern. Southern what? We don't know. It's just Southern something.
Southern.
They are Southern. And they handled them pretty easily. This week, they're coming in. Mississippi State is actually a 2-point favorite in Death Valley, which I thought was a little shocking. But that just goes to show you how good Mississippi State has looked so far in their games. But looking at this one, I really think, and to be honest with you, I changed my mind on this one. I mean, I can show you on my paper where I scratched it out. I originally went LSU on this, but the more I thought about it, LSU has, they're very inexperienced in the secondary, and that's pretty much, Mississippi State's not going to run the ball more than about 10 times. They're going to be slinging it. He's going to put up 55 to 60 pass attempts, probably, at least. With that being said, I think Mississippi State is going to cover this. I don't think they're going to blow LSU out by any means. One thing about it, if they can throw on you, you're going to have to deal with it because they're not going to stop. They basically they're not going to run the ball much. So you have to stop it eventually or you get blown out. So that's what I'm seeing. I think Mississippi State just squeaks by the number here at the 2.
I tell you, normally when a team disappoints me early in the season, when I try to pick them, I don't go back to them. But this week, I'm going to do it a little different. LSU at home, I really think they will handle this game. They won't blow Mississippi State out, but for them to be an underdog at home, they're going to take that as disrespect. And they're going to come out and play this week. Special teams, I think they worked on that. So if it's a close game, I think we will have better results there. I'm going to go for the Tigers. I don't think Mississippi State can win by 2 or 3 or win. I think LSU is going to win this game out.
I could see that. I originally picked it. The only reason I changed my mind is they've really got to looking at how much they throw and where LSU's weak. But I could see LSU winning it. I mean, obviously Vegas can too. You don't do 2-point lines for, when a team's much better than the other. All right, so let's look at Game 5. It's going to be Texas Tech versus NC State. NC State, on this one, they're going to be the home team, and they've got a 10.5-point line right now. And we're coming off of last week when Texas Tech won in overtime over a very good Houston team. And then NC State beat Charleston Southern. Hey, there's another one of them Southerns. And they're not very good either. Let's see. So, NC State killed them. So, big whoop there. And looking at this one, I went back and forth on this one a little bit. I thought, well, Texas Tech, is coming off that big win. Are they going to keep the momentum? The last time I saw NC State, they really didn't look that good. Devin Leary didn't look that good. But at the end of the day, I think he's a great quarterback. And I think that NC State is going to actually have a good game against a Power 5 opponent. I don't expect NC State to look nearly as bad as they did 2 weeks ago. Texas Tech, they're a good team. But at home, I just think NC State is going to have too much for Tech.
This is just one of those unique games, like I was saying earlier, where I don't normally go back with a team that disappointed me. But this time NC State's at home instead on the road at East Carolina. I don't think the Red Raiders can beat 2 ranked teams 2 weeks in a row. And NC State just, to me, has the better quarterback. 10.5 may seem like a little high, but at home I'm going the Wolfpack will be in the house this week.
Okay, game number 6. Michigan State versus Washington. Okay, Washington is coming in with this one with a 3-point spread advantage. Last week, Michigan State beat Akron 52-0, and Washington beat Portland State. Big deal. So in this game, obviously Washington's going to have the home field advantage. We don't know a lot about these teams. A lot of what I'm going off of these teams is what they returned from last year. I think it's still a little early to know what these two teams have. I really like what they're doing at Michigan State. I think he has really taken advantage of the transfer portal and is really doing a good job there. I think they have the horses to go into Washington and take this one. So I'm actually taking Michigan State to not only cover, but to win the game. So what you got?
I am also going Sparty this week. Neither team played a team that you feel like they proved that they are a very good team. But Michigan State played a Division I. So I'm going to go with that. Michigan State has good coaching. Coming out of the Big Ten, Washington is going to have to prove it to me this year. Washington's favored. Michigan State will definitely cover and should win the game.
All right, so looking at the next game, we have Miami versus Texas A&M. Of course, neither one of these teams really had a good week last week. You had Miami, who beat Southern Miss 30-7, but really struggled in the first half of that game. And then, they kind of took it over in the second half, whereas A&M lost to Appalachian State 17-14. And on this one, Texas A&M is favored by 5.5. Texas A&M's the home team, so they're probably getting 3 or 4 for that. To be honest with you, I really hate to do it, but I am going to take Texas A&M again. I just keep saying, and I may keep saying it, Texas A&M can't look that bad 2 weeks in a row. Technically, they didn't. They looked worse last week than they did the week before, so maybe they'll go the other way this time. That's who I'm going with. I'm taking A&M.
Boy, I tell you, you're living and dying with Aggieville, huh? Wow. I just do not think they have enough offense. Miami has proven they can score. A&M, they have got to figure out their quarterback situation and their offensive situation till they score more points, especially against a Division I team. I cannot pick A&M, especially if they're favored. The only thing that scares me, Vegas must know something I don't know, which apparently they have so far this year. But I just do not see them beating Miami by 6. I don't even see them winning the game. But I'm going Hurricanes. The Hurricanes are going to blow in and at least cover in College Station.
Yeah, I probably should have went with Miami on that one. I kept thinking about it. And I just can't. Eventually, they got to play good. Texas A&M has to play. If Texas A&M puts it together for a game, even Miami, they could win by double figures. But they got to freaking put it together. You hear me, Jimbo? Put it together, man. I'm counting on you.
Eventually, they will.
They will.
But I don't know if it'll be this week.
So, game number 8. FSU versus Louisville. So, FSU was on a bye last week. And Louisville beat Central Florida 20-14. Now going into this one, Florida State is a 2-point favorite on the road, and I like that. I saw a lot of that Florida State LSU game. I think FSU is finally starting to be headed in the right direction. I'm sure the Florida State fans are saying it's about freaking time, but I really think that the Norvell's got it kind of headed in the right direction at this point. So I'm going to take FSU to cover the 2 on the road at Louisville.
Can Louisville have that Friday night lights magic again as they pulled a big upset against the Gus Bus? I don't think so. The Florida State, they have proven they can beat an SEC team on a neutral field. I think they can beat an ACC team on the road. Take the Seminoles. Whoa! But they will win by at least 3.
Okay, so game number 9. Oklahoma versus Nebraska. So Oklahoma is coming off of beating Kent State 33-3. Nebraska's coming off of firing their coach. Which, by the way, I think it was about time. Thought Scott, it's hard to fire a guy that played at your program, and you want to give that guy every benefit of the doubt that you can. But he's had enough time to turn this around. This line in this game is Oklahoma favored by 11.5. They're either going to blow that line away or they're going to lose the game. Because who knows? With Nebraska, they're going to do one of 2 things. They're going to fold like a pup tent or they're going to play their heart out. I've got them folding like a pup tent. Considering they weren't good with Frost, I think they are much worse without him.
I normally do not like picking a team to cover this big of a spread. I'm not really a favorite type of guy. I'm usually an underdog guy, but Nebraska in turmoil, I just, like T said, they could rally together and at least make this game close, but I don't see it. Oklahoma's got a lot more talent than them. Oklahoma by at least 12 in this one. The Boomer Sooners will cover.
All right, so last but not least, we're at our last game. We got Old Dominion versus Virginia. Virginia is coming into this one with a 10-point spread advantage. Old Dominion is coming off of losing to East Carolina 21-39. Virginia lost 24-3 to Illinois. Both teams are kind of rebounding. Now in this one, they got Virginia as a 10-point favorite, which seems really high to me, and you're fixing to definitely tell I think it's high. East Carolina is a good ball team. I've saw them play. They're a good team. Losing to them by double figures is no shame on anybody. To me, that's not that bad a loss. Losing to Illinois 24-3, though, not necessarily the best look. And then you got Virginia as a 10-point favorite. To me, this is a smelly line. At the end of the day, I'm taking Old Dominion. I think they cover that, and easily.
It is now time for the double-digit dog. Old Dominion will not only play close, they're going to win this game. Old Dominion beat another Virginia team, Virginia Tech, to open the season. They played the Pirates of East Carolina real tough. I don't know why they are a 10-point dog, but they are not only going to cover, they are going to win. Take Old Dominion and the mighty Sun Belt in this one.
What I'm going to do next, I'm going to go through the Barbie's picks. I'm just going to run them down pretty quick. Okay, for those of you keeping score at home, and if you are, these are Barbie's picks. These are the ones you probably won't listen to. No, seriously. I'm expecting this week to be much better. But here is what Barbie Lou is picking this week. In Game 1, she's got Georgia. In Game 2, she's got BYU. Game 3, she has Penn State. Game 4, Mississippi State. Game 5, Texas Tech. But she did make a point to say only to cover, not to win. In the next game, she has Washington. Oh, she went A&M with me. She still believes in A&M. Game 8, she's got Florida State. Game 9, she's got Oklahoma. And Game 10, she has Virginia. So it kind of worried me when she has different picks than me, especially when she gets on a hot streak, because she can get a lot right in a short amount of time. Thank you guys for being here with us. We're expecting much better results this week. Be sure and like and subscribe to the video. And I don't like to ask for this, but it seems like when you don't, nobody likes and subscribes. I do the same thing. I forget. If I'm watching a video, if they don't ask me to like or subscribe, most of the time I forget. So I am going to do my due diligence and go ahead and ask for a like and a subscription. Anything else? Anything, if you guys want to give us your picks, put them down in the comments. We would love to discuss some of this stuff with you guys. For sure, definitely reach out. Love to hear from any of you guys, but we thank you for being here with us, and hopefully we'll see you next week.